Hello, everyone, and welcome to Good to Great School Australia's webinar on our Every Child is Special program, a program that's developed for foundation to Year 6. This program is a holistic approach to students' social and emotional development, their behaviour and character growth. And through this, we believe we don't just improve their student wellbeing, but we can improve, and when done well, can improve the whole entire school climate. We're very excited to share this with you today. This is our first one on Every Child is Special. My name's Julie Grantham. I'm the Director of Schools for Good to Great Schools Australia. I'm a former teacher, principal and Director General of Education in Queensland. Today we have participants from every state and territory, but we also have every sector represented online. Over the next 30 to 40 minutes, we'll explore how the Every Child is Special program builds awareness, emotional regulation, positive behaviours, and instills that strong character in students that can help them pave their way to success. But before we do that, we need to do a little bit of housekeeping. So at the end, we do have 10 minutes for question and answers. So if you have a question, see that little function at the bottom of the screen. You can pop your question in there at any time throughout the webinar. At the end, we'll try and answer all the questions, but if we can't, we'll make sure we respond in 48 hours. To see all our presenters throughout the webinar, go to the top of your screen, click on the View, Select, and then Gallery View. Finally, at the end of the webinar, there will be a little survey pop up when I finish. It only has 4 questions, and we really value your input into feeding back to us how we can do these better and whether we're satisfying your needs in delivering these webinars. To be a member of Good to Great Schools Australia, there's a QR code that will come up at the end of the presentation. All you need to do is scan that and you will become a member of our organisation. So I've already introduced myself, but I have a number of co-presenters today, Stephanie, Jonty and Lorraine. So I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves and then we'll kick off into the proper presentation. So over to you first, Steph.
Thanks, Julie. Hi, everyone. My name's Stephanie. I'm a teaching coach and curriculum developer at Good to Great Schools Australia. I've been working in education for about 10 years now, and with much that time focus on direct instruction and literacy intervention. In my current role, I support schools to implement evidence-based curriculum and deliver direct instruction programs with fidelity. And I also help develop the curriculum materials to support student learning.
Thanks, Steph.
Hi everyone. My name's Lorraine. I'm a curriculum developer at Good to Great Schools Australia. I've worked on various projects, including Bible literacy, social and emotional learning, and English. I have over 34 years experience as a teacher, deputy head teacher, and a head teacher in England, with experience across the curriculum, focusing particularly on literacy development, religious education, and personal and social education.
Thanks, Lorraine. I wanted to introduce Dane Lombard, but she's very unwell today. But I wanted to include her in our normal list because one of the things that's important to know is that as an education psychologist, Dane has had an input into the development of our programs. So I wanted to acknowledge her work up front so that you know that we have other people working on these programs. But today we've very honoured to have with us Jonty. Jonty is actually a practitioner who is in a school that delivers Every Child is Special. So welcome, Jonty, and would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Julie. Yes, as you heard, my name is Jonty, and I've been in Hopevale implementing the ECIS programs this year. I have a background in health science, and I've spent a majority of my professional career working in primary education.
Thanks, Jonty. So let's look at this webinar. I mentioned in the opening about the whole school climate, and I want to keep coming back to that because I think this is an important program that supports it. Through this webinar, we're going to unpack the 3 streams that make up Every Child is Special: social and emotional learning, positive high expectations, and character growth. And we'll look at how to integrate those streams into daily practice in your school. We'll demonstrate to you how each of the streams, the lessons, the resources, those teaching strategies our developers have drawn upon to present these programs to you. And at the end, we'll talk about how you can have access to these resources. So if we move on to a map of Australia, what you can see of the 6,200 primary schools in Australia, more than 50% are already using our programs. And that might be in other learning areas, the English, the maths, the science, art, religion, and health and physical education. But our resources are all mapped to the Australian curriculum. And can I just say up front, they're all mapped to version 9. So moving on, today we're going to introduce to you an Every Child is Special program. The Foundation to Year 6 program, I believe, has benefits for the individual teacher, but again, for the whole school. For the school, I find that there's a consistent school-wide approach to social and emotional learning and character education. It's a school where routines and expectations are consistent right across the school. You can see them in the playground, you can see them in the classroom. It's where teachers are supported with extensive professional development that's available to them 24/7. And all of this can be tailored to meet the individual demands of the schools. I think these results also in a deepened expertise of everyone who's in the school environment. And for the teacher, our resources are developed and planned by the expert educators who have also been in the classroom. They're you having the time to develop these lessons. They use evidence that supports effective teaching delivery, and they use that to plan and select resources and the classroom strategies that will better support the delivery of this content. For me, for teachers in the school, it reduces that planning time and enables you to concentrate on how you're going to go about teaching, the pedagogical practice, and where you're not searching for resources and spending time that will support the teaching, but actually focusing on how you will teach it. So let's hand over to Lorraine, and Lorraine's going to introduce us to the benefits for students and then take us through stream 1, which is the social and emotional learning. Over to you, Lorraine.
Lovely. Thank you, Julie. Well, we all know that learning doesn't happen in isolation, but it's deeply influenced by how students feel and how they interact and how they behave and view themselves and others. So our programme is designed to enable every student to reach their full potential. So let's look particularly, first of all, at the benefits of the social and emotional learning part of the programme for students. This part is where students build skills for achieving positive relations. They learn to manage their own emotions and their behaviours through self-awareness and awareness of others. This enables them to develop empathy, respect for others, and those crucial teamwork and social skills and awareness of others. Another key benefit is that students develop the resilience that they need to face those complex challenges that everyone faces. The positive high expectation stream of the ECIS programme instills in students the importance of self-discipline as well as personal responsibility. Students are helped to follow routines for behaviour and learning and are able to practice teamwork and gratitude. They learn to model those core school values like respect and hard work. And finally, the character development stream of the ECIS programme benefits students because they learn self-discipline, kindness and gratitude. They also learn how to turn challenges into opportunities with grit and build their confidence and leadership skills through self-reflection. Hands-on projects also encourage curiosity and the creativity in all students.
We have a catch cry for this program called Feel, Act, Become, because that is about the social emotional learning, how people act and behave, that positive high expectation, and how you become, how you develop your own character. So we want the children to feel, to experience those strong social and emotional development opportunities. It builds their empathy, their confidence, self-awareness through those supportive relationships and meaningful interactions. Then we wanted them to teach them how to act, how to behave in ways that reflect that shared universal value, such as respect, kindness, responsibility, integrity. And these are values that are, again, reinforced both through the classroom learning and those broader program experiences that we're going to talk about towards the end of the webinar. And finally, we want to help them become, to form their character and their identity by pursuing what matters to them. And sometimes they don't know yet what matters to them. And that's our responsibility to expose them to all sorts of experiences to help them become. So it's helping them to discover, follow their passions, build their resilience, and set those meaningful goals for their future. So now let's get into the lesson and what it looks like, please, Lorraine.
Lovely, thank you. As Julie said, the Every Child is Special catchphrase is feel, act, become. And the social and emotional learning stream of the programme builds on the foundations of each student's development through the first part of that catchphrase, the feel. They learn to communicate respectfully and show empathy, which helps them to build positive relationships through kindness. They learn to manage emotions with various calming techniques, which they practice across all of the units and all years. Students practice to resolve conflicts with mindfulness, and they also develop resilience to face challenges through different scenarios. They also foster inclusive and cooperative behaviour. So let's take a look at the structure of the units. There are 4 units from Foundation to Year 6. Unit 1 supports students in learning to understand and manage their own emotions. And then in Unit 2, students improve their emotional awareness and empathy as they build important, respectful relationships. Unit 3 focuses on teamwork and emotional understanding and solving problems together. And then finally in Unit 4, it enhances students' skills by focusing on inclusivity, how to resolve conflicts, and developing a deeper self-awareness. So as I said, there are 4 units per year, and each unit has 8 or 9 lessons. For each unit, there are a range of resources, which include a detailed teaching guide, which includes a unit overview, assessment and progression indicators, and a lesson-by-lesson guide. There are also student workbooks and resources to support this stream, such as instruction posters and feelings flashcards. The professional learning modules then support teachers in the delivery of the social and emotional learning stream. All of these lessons follow the pedagogical flow that we use in all of our curriculum. The recite, recall and apply builds on the previous lesson. Then we have the objective, the success criteria, and then we activate prior knowledge so that pupils can fully engage in the lesson. Then we have the I do, we do, you do, the check-in for understanding, and the lesson's conclusion with the revise, the reflect, and the connect. So I'm going to look at some of the particular features, the highlights of the social and emotional learning module. It includes calming techniques and gives students opportunities to practice self-talk. This helps students to build resilience and confidence in a structured and practical way. They learn that positive self-talk is when we talk to ourselves and tell ourselves kind things to encourage us to feel better. And they can learn how to feel brave and confident even in hard times when they feel nervous or scared or unsure. And they practice this self-talk through using different sentences in different scenarios. Another highlight of social and emotional learning includes the use of engaging resources, the amazing animations, but also interactive flipbooks. This particular story here is from Year 1 and 2 lesson that helps students to understand the importance of 3 steps: to stop and then think and then choose the appropriate way to behave. All of these engaging resources make lessons much more dynamic and relatable, and they also reinforce key concepts of positive thinking in various visual ways to help students understand and retain the concepts more effectively. Another highlight of the social and emotional learning is that there are various activities to encourage emotional awareness and help students to relate to their own and other people's feelings. For example, students learn how to be feelings detectives. Being feeling detectives teaches students to look for clues to help them to understand their own emotions and the emotions of others. And then across the units, students also learn to be empathy detectives and inclusion detectives, where they learn the importance of those skills and are set missions to practice those skills of being empathetic and inclusive. Another highlight of the social and emotional learning includes the mood reflection exercises. These guide students to explore and then articulate and regulate their emotions more effectively. Students are also taught that reading the room means to pay attention to what's happening around them so they can respond in the right, appropriate way. They're supported in developing social empathy and they understand group dynamics more effectively. They're taught how to use the face, body, and voice clues to read the room and practice this using different scenarios. A further highlight of the social and emotional learning for students is that they learn how to shift from negative to positive thinking by flipping their thoughts. They learn that negative and positive thinking, they learn what it looks like. Then a further highlight of the social and emotional learning is that students develop their communication strategies throughout foundation to year 6. After learning to say sorry effectively and using please and thank you in foundation years, they develop through to learning about the importance of asking and giving permission respectfully in year 5 and 6. After practicing appropriate communication strategies, students build essential interpersonal skills in a practical and respectful way. Students have various opportunities to practice these vital communication skills, and this includes looking at how to respond in different scenarios.
That's great, Lorraine. So everyone, what happens when you get these resources is obviously the teaching guide walks you through how to teach that lesson that Lorraine has just taken us through. One of the things I'm just checking now is if there's any questions in the chat, and I can't see any. So in particular, if you have a question now about social and emotional learning, pop it into the chat and we'll come back to it at the end of at the end of the webinar. But we're going to move now into stream 2, which is about setting those positive high expectations and how we reinforce that. So Steph, these lessons, you've worked on these lessons and you actually support schools in their work in delivering positive high expectation programs. So over to you.
Thanks, Julie. Yeah, so stream 2 is the behaviour component of the Every Child is Special program, and positive high expectations behaviour builds on student development through ACT. So ACT is the bridge between feeling and becoming. It's where students practice positive behaviours daily, which is really important. So we build habits around routines, responsibility, teamwork, and values to shape long-term growth. So looking at the unit structure, it's a similar structure and the resources provided to the social emotional learning aspect, which Lorraine went into. But here, looking specifically at the units for positive high expectations, the first unit is personal responsibility, looking at things like teamwork, gratitude, and care for the environment as well. And then unit 2 explicitly teaches routines that enhance students' emotional well-being and social interaction skills as well. In terms of the lesson framework and resources, it's delivered in 9 short lessons. So they're actually 20 minutes each and quite easy to implement into the classroom. And teachers are given structured support. This is through the teaching guide, like Julie mentioned. All the student workbooks are provided, posters, and then there's professional learning support as well, which we offer, which we're going to go into a little bit later in the webinar to reinforce consistency. So as part of the Positive High Expectations module, this introduces students to the school's motto and core values, and it fosters essential character traits like responsibility, perseverance, respect, and preparation. And now what I want to do is take you through some of the lesson features. So positive high expectation explicitly teaches rules and routines throughout the lessons, as I mentioned, and reinforcing school routines promotes consistent and a respectful learning environment among students as well. Here we have a check for understanding activity, which is used to assess whether students have understood the material being taught. So here, students simply sort of show thumbs up or down to indicate what they know. And this just ensures that students are first actively engaged in the learning process and also identifies any areas of confusion or misunderstanding that need to be addressed. Here we have a series of I do activities with just different examples of some of the rules and routines that are taught. So teachers reinforce routines so students know what to do and when to do it. They don't have to think about it. They don't have to ask the teacher how to do it. It just reduces learning distractions and teaches students how to stay focused on their learning. So for example, here we've got teaching rules for play. We've got wearing hats protects us from the sun, playing with others, using equipment and handling it gently, putting equipment and resources away, and moving quickly to class when the bell rings. So these routines are just processes that are performed repetitively. So it's important to establish predictability for students so they know what's coming next and when to do it. We also have apologizing when wrong. So practicing to apologize when wrong builds accountability and supports positive behavior for students. Students learn to identify their own emotions, reflect upon their actions. They learn how to understand consequences for their actions and taking actions to resolve issues or problems that have been caused. And here we have the gradual release model of I do, we do, and you do. So first, the teacher models the importance of putting things in the right place. Then students practice together as a class. So learning how to look after things promotes responsibility and a care for shared spaces. And then finally, students are built to independently complete the activity by themselves. So positive high expectation schools need to be clear on the desired outcomes that they have for their students and set out that vision on a prominent wall in the school where it can be viewed every day by the school team, even students and parents as well. So what's important here is not just about the lessons, but we also provide teachers with posters and charts so students are reminded of the rules and routines daily. And teachers are encouraged to review these with their classrooms every day. So some of the examples we can see here include apologize when wrong. So this is used by teachers to guide students in understanding emotions, fixing mistakes, and feeling better through our 4 apologize when wrong rules. There's also be grateful. So this is used by teachers to help students follow the 6 be grateful rules to express and share their thankfulness. There's a brain break as well, which is used by teachers to provide appropriate energizing strategies for their students for effective re-engagement in learning. And the other side of that, we've also got the calm down poster, which is used by teachers to provide appropriate calming strategies to their students for effective re-engagement. And then end of the day. So this is used by teachers to help students follow the 5 end of the day rules and routines, essentially for organizing their belongings, tidying the classroom, for example, and preparing to go home.
I should just say, Steph, that all those posters are available on our website. There are a number of that's an example that's been presented today, but every routine that can happen in a school has a poster, and a poster is displayed in a prominent place adjacent to where the activity would take place, so that everyone can constantly be reminded. A teacher sees someone doing something inappropriate, they say, remember, what are our rules? And they can point to what the rules are. So I thought I'd throw that in. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, definitely. Yeah, I think, and another thing that we provide is resources on actually addressing and supporting schools to build and maintain positive high expectation and building this positive culture. So we've got some examples of some of the other resources we provide, not just posters, but also we've got things like the self-evaluation surveys, which are used by the school team to actually assess their own skills and delivery of the positive high expectations practices. And then from there, they can develop a professional learning plan with their school team. We also have things like behavior observation forms. So they document students' behavior who are on an intensive behavior plan to determine patterns of antecedents, behaviors, and consequences. And then we also have individual behavior plans. So this is just used to develop goals and interventions to support students with targeted behavior needs as well.
Okay, so before we go on to stream 3, I've just gone into questions and answers. And again, if you've got a question on that positive high expectation, please put it in there so that we can come back to it at the end of the presentation. So now let's look at stream 3 on character development. And this is where we become. And the become underpins that character development stream where we focus on student growth. And this is where we help students develop their character by practicing kindness, gratitude, self-discipline, and self-reflection. And they learn to pursue goals with a genuine curiosity and passion, to develop grit and time management, how to understand leadership and service, and then to use those talents that they develop to make a positive impact in their community. You'll see here in our unit structure that you can see the same consistent pattern that's been developed across the 4 units, 8 lessons, and then the supporting resources. In this area, we've got the units of build foundational skills like self-discipline and kindness. Unit 2, where we foster gratitude, curiosity, and perseverance. Unit 3, where we focus on strengthening reflection, resilience, and problem solving. And Unit 4, where we're emphasising that leadership, that service, and notion of service and giving back to your community. So in here, there's special features that support these lessons. So if we look at the first one, replay the day. Students reflect on their day, they review choices and planning improvements. Sorry. We're looking back and moving forward, which encourages reflection on personal progress and recognising achievements. We talk about gratitude and gameplay, where we've developed a very good board game. And I'm just waiting for the slides to catch up at yes, this is the Glimmers of Gratitude board game, where it builds that, helps the students focus on the small little things that make the positive moments that everyone has in their day. And if we move on to the second slide, the Glimmers of Gratitude. So it enables students to understand how gratitude helps you to overcome those challenges and find things that we can all be grateful for during our school day. If we look at Toothpick Towers, this is a creative building challenge that inspires persistence in students, and the kids really love this one. When I observed this one personally when I was in a school. So Toothpick Towers. And then we go into I Believe in Me poster. And this is inspired by Kathy Freeman. And this inspires children to create their own motivational posters to boost their own self-belief. And Keep Going, Keep Growing. This is a flip book. And the flip books that have been developed are terrific. And this one, it focuses on teaching resilience and it ties into the origins of basketball. I think the illustrations are fantastic. And these, again, all these illustrations are on the website for you. So the future you will thank you. This is where we encourage long-term perseverance, and we link this to scientific research samples. So this work has, as I said, everything we do has an evidence base behind it. So this is the time travel, giving advice. If only we could look back and see what's happened to us, would we be how much better person we'd be, the future me, the time travel. And now we come into how we actually do this in a school. So I think it's great, Jonty, that you've been able to join us today, so that you can actually talk about how does this work translate with you into a school. So one of the other activities other than lessons is what we call Every Child is Special Day. And I'm going to ask Jonty to describe what that looked like and how that was delivered at his school.
Thank you, Julie. So ECIS Day is planned for the first day of each term. In the Hopevale School, we have seen it's a great opportunity to implement our school values and rules for all students. On this day, we invite the students' families to attend, and this has been a great opportunity for parents to see their children in the classroom, as well as to discuss with their child's teachers any topics or areas of concern they may have. And this really helps the school connect to the local community. ECIS Day has been brilliant as it allows students to feel more comfortable in their new classroom, especially if they are new or being assigned to a different class than last term.
Yeah, and I think, Johnny, one of the things we noticed was the parents like to see the routine. And once they can see it, they can see how they can support it. And if we look at that, what the Every Child is Special Day is about, it is about reinforcing and setting those standards that the school sets. And I think if it can go beyond the school gate to the home and to the community, then that standard can be more impactful right across the community. And by aligning, engaging with the families, what we're doing is giving them another opportunity on how to support their children to reach that required standard in the school. They know what the school expects. They can talk about the children about that expectation. And for the children, what this day does is it creates that safe, predictable, engaging learning environment. They know what's expected of them, and it's up to them to deliver. And another thing Jonty does in his school is he delivers lunchtime chats. So, Jonty, this is another little aspect of our Every Child is Special beyond the classroom. So, let's talk about lunchtime chats.
Yeah, so I personally take a small group of 4 to 5 children who have been identified to be struggling with their social and emotional state at the school, and I invite them to have a lunchtime chat with me. Um, and we talk about a range of issues in these chats, and I let these kids think about different scenarios and how they would react personally. I've noticed many positives about these chats, but two major ones are the social improvement of those kids who do attend. Since the start of the year to now, I've seen a steady improvement of these kids' social emotional states. They definitely show more signs of empathy to other kids, as well as recognizing their own personal body signals when they are feeling stressed and anxious. And the second thing is how important that safe space it is. That connection that we build with these children in this safe area. I've got to hear a lot of these problems that these kids have that they haven't necessarily talked to their teacher or their close friends about. And these issues range from bullying to dealing with grief.
And it's one of those things, Johnny, where you build that very special relationship with students that you can talk to them on another level and put a challenge to them about, well, how will they react? If they don't bring it up, you've got ideas that you can talk about with them to make sure that lunchtime chat activity is really meaningful and the kids can learn something from it. So what we do with the lunchtime chats, we specifically train our facilitators. Jonty is a facilitator in the school. There are other facilitators. Some are experienced teachers, but they're familiar to the students and they have that special rapport and relationship. And sometimes, Johnny, you use props like tablecloths, flowers, anything to create a welcoming atmosphere. And once you get to know those students that are coming to your lunchtime chats, I think you have those better ways to pull them in and to connect with them in ways that can't always happen in the classroom. And I think, Johnny, one of the things you do is then make sure those personalised strategies are communicated not just to the teacher in the classroom, but also to home so that parents can know, what's working well with their children. So
Yeah, most definitely.
yeah, and can I ask you to talk about one more? And this is our hobby club. And so this is something that we've just introduced this year in the Every Child is Special program. And Jonty, you're the key coordinator in the school. So I know you've got lots to say about hobby club as well.
Yeah. So Hobby Club is like an hour-long session that's run just straight after school finishes, and it's a great way for the community to get involved. We have many elders and other locals come in and share their expertise in native language, art, and dance. And we also get teachers to volunteer some of their time to teach these kids important skills like swimming. And this really allows these kids to try activities that they wouldn't necessarily get to try otherwise. And that's really important in there to become a person, finding what they enjoy the most. It has been a joy to see these kids to, come into these hobby clubs and foster a positive school enthusiasm. I often get stopped by kids during the day asking what class is on and, who's running it and if there's going to be a change or if they can join or a friend can join with them today. And I think it's always awesome to see kids just want to come to school and be excited and just to stay that extra bit longer so they can learn something that they don't learn at school.
I do too, Johnny, and I've seen you do it. And I've seen the delivery of the hobby club. And it's one of those things where we talked before about exposing students to things that they don't even know that exist. And so that you hook into that inquisitive nature that children have, and you can develop that passion and go from there. So it's about nurturing those students' interests, and building on those lessons that are more formal through the school day. And I know this term or last term, I know you had music, you had games, you had dance, you had art and crafts, swimming club. And I know that those opportunities for students are greatly appreciated by the students who attend. I want to talk about, and again, a reminder for any of those questions. I'm just checking, no questions yet. So let's talk about the different ways that you can implement Every Child is Special in your school. And one of the things I really want to stress is the flexibility that the program offers. We've tried to put together about 5 different ways that you could look at how to implement Every Child is Special. And the first one, of course, is always that comprehensive program where you teach the 3 learning streams of social emotional learning, where you look at the positive high expectations and the character growth. So we'll move on to the next slide and talk about this whole package. So it's the most comprehensive we offer. You get the 3 learning streams, but you also can then look at how you can work with the lunchtime chats, work with the hobby club, and so to make sure that that's a very holistic program development. In package 2, this is where you might look at a single stream. You might pick at one area where you're thinking, well, we really need to develop that character growth, where we need, the children aren't being exposed to those opportunities that's digging into what their passions may be. And this targeted method of picking one of the streams or one of the lessons, or a topic within the lessons, it enables you to provide those meaningful, focused learning experience. So again, I'm stressing the flexibility. So you could start with one stream, then you could add a second stream. In the third stream, in the third way of implementation, what we're saying is you may just pick up the classroom lessons. So altogether, we've got 290 lessons across the 3 streams: the social emotional learning, positive high expectations, and character development. Those lessons are designed to target specific need, and that's whether it's targeting the students' emotional development, their building resistance, their resilience, or practicing perseverance. You can tailor all these programs to the unique needs of your students, a class, or even a particular cohort if that's what you want to do. Or you may look at cross-curricular. So you could integrate these programs into your existing academic programs. And you can embed these themes into learning areas like English, math, science. They all align with the Australian curriculum and the national initiatives. What's important, though, is that it reinforces those positive behaviours, the emotional intelligence development, and the ethical thinking that you have across all subject areas. And finally, you might just go for a targeted support implementation. And this is highly targeted, designed to support particular students who need extra help with skills like their self-regulation or their social connection. You can choose from the range of structured programs or the flexible activities based on those needs of those particular students. And you can integrate that into ongoing initiatives or run them as standalone events. It provides all our programs provide additional assessment opportunities, which they can support funding applications or any professional evaluations that you may be doing. But in everything we do, what we do is support our teachers and our people that are involved in our programs to develop their repertoire of practices and skills through professional learning. So I'm going to ask Steph to take us through our professional learning range so that you can see particularly what support is available.
Yeah, so we offer a comprehensive suite of professional learning modules for school teams to support that effective delivery of the Every Child is Special program, particularly if you're entirely new to it. So you can tailor your selection to match your program focus or explore key topics through standalone professional learning. So you can cover different areas like we've looked at today, each of the 3 streams, looking at if it's behavior needs, social emotional learning, or character development, with practical and evidence-based strategies to support this. So our Mastery Teaching Pathway is our professional development platform for educators and school teams. And this is available to all of our members. And Julie will speak to the membership process shortly, but it offers certified training and coaching aligned with Australian National Teaching Standards and school improvement goals. And all of these are free resources to our members. So it's designed for everyone in education, from principals to teaching assistants, equipping them with essential skills for success and really supporting that implementation. And our professional learning modules are grouped by purpose to support different professional learning needs. So you can have a look here. We've got the course modules, which focus on building effective teaching knowledge and confidence throughout all subjects. Program modules, these offer deep training aligned to specific programs that we offer. So these goes into things like an overview of the program, looking at teaching practices, instructional strategies and supportive resources, exploring different scenarios, unit and lesson components, and then assessment and success criteria. So all of that goes in depth for you as well. Then we have our practice modules, which are short, targeted lessons to address specific teaching challenges. So it might just be you want to practice setting up the classroom for success, for example. We have modules to support those specific needs. And then we have collegial modules, which is designed for whole school teams to learn together. And this is perfect for student-free days with a focus on evidence-based practices.
And one of the things that I know we did at the beginning of the year with Jonty's school was we worked in whole groups where we worked through this Every Child is Special program. We actually looked at the theory behind executive functioning. We actually practiced the conversations on how to support children through to distill that what their issues are and to bring about a resolution. So I've seen these collegial modules work brilliantly, and I can't recommend them to you highly enough. One of the things we must say also is that every module that you do has certification. And for the states that have the re-registration, these modules and the certification all contribute towards your continued professional development. That you must do as part of that re-registration. Look, we haven't got any open questions, so I always worry about that because I think, well, we've either done a great job and answered all your questions along the way, or that we've missed the marks. Annette has just said the flexibility here is amazing. Once again, very engaging resources. Thank you so much. Thank you, Annette. And Annette's a repeat attendee at our webinar, so it's great to see you here. One of the things, though, that sometimes when we're developing these modules and when we're rolling them out to schools, we've thought of, well, what are the questions, the common questions that we've been asked, by people that are implementing them. And one that always, and I'm going to get you to answer this, Lorraine, is always about its alignment to the Australian curriculum, because that's a very important thing, obviously, for people to know that their curriculum has that alignment. So can you just discuss that, the alignment there very, very quickly?
Yeah, certainly. Well, all of the lessons that are covered in the units have been very carefully mapped to the ACARA standards, and as you said, it's version 9. So for the social and emotional learning and the character development strands, they've been carefully aligned, building each year's learning upon the previous skills and concepts. Each teaching guide outlines the relevant personal, social and community health components from the Health and Physical Education Australian curriculum that support that year group.
So one of the other questions we always get asked too is, well, how do I fit this into my timetable? I hope by running through those packages, you had an indication of the flexibility of the program. Some schools run at each of those areas, the streams, the social emotional learning, the character development, and the positive high expectations. All of them those lessons are 20 minutes. Some schools, like Jonty's, run them in 20-minute blocks throughout the week. Other schools run them as a 1 hour, and the teacher just has those resources at hand in order to deliver that. So there's a great flexibility in how you can deliver, and it can fit into the school timetable depending on what your demands are within that school. One other, Steph, is always about the preparation that teachers do. And I espouse our curriculum and our programs as being one of the great benefits to teachers that, we help teachers so much So can you just talk about the planning and preparation aspects of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, like you said, we've done our best to do all of the planning side of things for teachers and educators. So each lesson comes with a teaching guide, which is a full script of everything that the teacher says in every lesson. The PowerPoint presentation of all those beautiful images and activities you saw, student workbook and supporting resources. However, you can still prepare for these lessons and for the implementation of the Every Child is Special program. And this is essential for effective delivery. So the important thing is to take the time to first familiarize yourself with the specific stream or lesson or area that you'll be teaching and focusing on, and use the materials available to you. You can see we've spent countless hours of trying to prepare all of these resources that we think would really help boost teachers and school leaders and school teams to implement this effectively. But just making sure that you use the posters, you're aware of the rules and routines that you'll be explicitly teaching, for example. So I think the overall understanding the overall purpose and aim of the Every Child is Special program is key. But most importantly is school-wide implementation. So I think that this is the most critical factor in the sense that all school teams work together to maintain cohesion on things like these school rules, routines, how the school mottos and values are taught to students, and having these behavior expectations explicitly taught, but then also things like recording behavior incidents and addressing attending to issues that occur inside the classroom and outside the classroom. I think having that consistency and working together is really important for this program to be effective.
Thanks, Steph. And Lorraine, one of the things that people always ask is how, we can build on literacy. So how do you build in that progression in vocabulary, for example, that children develop through this program when you're working on that social and emotional learning stream?
Yeah, we've seen the importance of vocabulary being quite central. We've actually mapped out the use of specific vocabulary so that students can understand them. We feel that using appropriate and accurate vocabulary when speaking with children is essential for language development, cognitive growth, and the future success in communication and learning. So therefore, we use accurate vocabulary throughout the years. So we teach vocabulary through concepts such as body language, conflict, empathy, grit, curiosity, and they're all defined and students are given examples of those words. So if I can just give you an example of the concept of empathy, for example, we don't shy away from using that word from reception, sorry, I keep saying reception, sorry, from foundation right through to year 6. So therefore in foundation year, students learn that empathy is when we understand someone else's feelings and respond to that with kindness. By year 5 and 6, students learn that empathy is actually putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and understanding their feelings and their needs and their experiences. And that's key. So we don't shy away from using the vocabulary. We just ensure that the students can actually understand it effectively.
Great. And the other day when I was in a school, I saw a teacher use back to the student. That's a great example of you showing true grit, and so the teacher was bringing that language from the Every Child is Special program into other areas of their teaching. So it was great to see.
Superb, yeah.
Move on and to how we can support you. In order to access all our resources that we've demonstrated to you today, you need to be a member of Good to Great Schools Australia. You can be an individual member or you can be have a partner school membership. I've noticed that when schools have a few individuals spread across the school, they have great teaching happening in their classroom, and it's that teaching it's evident. But when you've got a partner school membership that a leader within your school needs to email us to get you signed up, you get a whole broader access and you get that lift in student outcomes that can be evident school-wide. So our recommendation to you is always for the partner school membership group. But if you are not in that able to do that, then certainly the individual membership will help you get all these resources, and again, all those free resources. That QR code there, you just scan that now and you can sign up to be an individual member. As I said, a leader of your school administration needs to email us there to make sure that we get you signed up into a partner school membership to get that school-wide lift that you're looking for. So everyone, that brings us to an end to our webinar today on Every Child is Special. Our next webinar is next week on June the 12th, and it's a preview of a new informative history writing unit that we're working on, and we want to have that opportunity to share it with you. So please have a look on our website. You again can scan that code that's there if you want us to register for that. Keep an eye out on our social media for all the information about future and upcoming webinars. We're trying to roll out a series of these. So please tell your colleagues, give us the feedback we need to make sure that they're actually meeting your need. And so, because we are an organisation always wanting to improve. Can I thank my co-presenters, Stephanie, Lorraine, and Jonty? And Jonty is usually in Hobby Club at this time of day, aren't you, Jonty, working with those kids? And they were wondering where he was this afternoon. So we really appreciate the time. Yeah. So everyone, don't forget when I leave the webinar, that survey will pop up for you. There's only 4 questions, and we'd really love you to fill it out so we can do better next time. So all the best, and see you next week, hopefully. Bye for now.